guys, Jake with Legacy 4x4 here again, and today we're back working on my do-it-yourself square drop, teardrop type trailer. Today we're going to be doing the cooler drawer slide for my Yeti Tundra 45 cooler on the back of this trailer in the galley section. With that said, let's go ahead and get started. So if you guys watched the last video, you saw that we added in the electrical system to this trailer. So for the electrical system, we used a wooden bottom drawer slide on the left-hand side of the trailer to hold the battery and all of the electrical components. I went with wood on that system because it's just easier, it's a lot cheaper, and it was pretty quick to do on that side of the trailer. On this side of the trailer though, we're gonna make a steel basket to hold a Yeti cooler. I'm choosing to go with steel for a couple of reasons. First, because the tolerances on this back section here that you can see over here, the tolerances for the cooler to fit are very tight. So I need some really thin material, objectively thin material, that has a lot of strength to it, that can hold the full weight of a cooler and not deflect under the load. And you gotta remember that even like a Yeti, like a small cooler, Yetis are heavy to start with, and by the time you fill in ice, beer, food, and etc. in these things, they start to get really heavy. So I do have full extension drawer slides that can hold 250 pounds on them at full extension. So I have the drawer slides that can handle this, but I need a material for this basket that can also handle this deflection. So I couldn't use wood, so I'm deciding to use steel instead for this. So we're gonna make a really simple steel basket that's gonna be able to hold this cooler, and then it'll have full access to it from the back side of this trailer here. Now, I didn't do the traditional trailer style, the traditional teardrop style, where you have a full-size galley, as you can see when you look at it back here. This galley does not go all the way down to the floor of the trailer like some teardrops. Instead, where you can see where this tabletop is here, that is going to be my galley section. It's going to be my storage space, my workspace, etc. But then below that, on the left-hand side of the trailer, we're going to have a different access door. That's going to be for the battery system, and then on the right-hand side of it is where we're working today. That's going to have a different access door, and it's going to hold the cooler. This will allow me to individually open the cooler. If I go to a store and I want to go fill it, I don't have to open up the whole tailgate or anything like that and expose everything I have in this trailer necessarily to the elements. I can just easily flip down the cooler door, pull out the cooler, load it, put it back together, and then I can get on the road again. I also just think this is a simpler design than those big swooping doors. Those seem complicated to make, and they seem kind of like a bear to seal. So by doing it this way, I have a simpler seal up top here and then a simpler seal for the two storage spaces below. So I think it's going to work out. I like the design of it personally, but I am biased because it is my design. Anyways, back to the problem at hand. So today we need to make a simple basket. So I already started on this a little bit. I'm making this predominantly out of scrap metal that I had. I had some leftover 3/16 from the gusset that we used, or gussets we used throughout the trailer, as well as some leftover 1x1 chunks. And we're going to use that to make this drawer slide. So here is the basic layout of it. Pretty simple little thing, you know. It is just a very tight tolerance ladder looking drawer slide. I've got it tacked together right now, but we need to finish welding this thing up into the trailer. So you can see I've got 4 pieces of the 3/16. This is a 3/16 by 3-inch flat bar, and I've got 2 pieces of 1x1 by 8, 1x1 by 14 gauge square tubing here. That's going to be the main section of our drawer slide. For the sides of it, I used some more 3/16, some of that leftover stuff I had. I just plasma cut it down the middle, and I used that to do the exterior wall that's going to bolt into our trailer drawer slides. So I'm going to finish welding this, and then we'll start laying this out on the trailer. Into their mind, they never talk we got the drawer slide mounted into the back of the trailer now. As you can see, it works, which is great. I had kind of some trouble getting this thing to mount properly. I did it mostly off of camera. I was originally going to bolt these into place, and I do have bolts that go through the drawer slide, but I had to cut the nuts off the back of them and then weld them on the back side into position. So these drawer slides are fixed now on this little carrier here. I had to do that because this is a really tight fit back here for the cooler. So as I was sizing it up back here, the only way I could get it to fit properly, the cooler to fit properly, was to do those, because it wouldn't fit in this with the nuts on the back side of it. So I had to cut those off to get them installed. Now, I also had to cut like a 1/4 of an inch off this very top trim here to account for the distance and the weight of these plates in order to get the cooler to have enough clearance to go in and out smoothly. So I had to do a little bit of modifications. That's why you can see back here when I show you guys that there's a little bit of like splatter from where I plasma cut the top of this into the back of the trailer. It's okay, you're not gonna be able to see it with the cooler in there. But we got that all done now. Now I need to add in a little spacer. I'm gonna just use this piece of scrap 1x1 back here. I'm gonna weld it into the very back here, and it is the spacer that's gonna eat up the last little bit of distance, because the cooler is a little shorter than the depth of this, and so I need to eat up that last little bit of distance, and I'm just gonna use this little spacer here. Once that's installed, then we'll be able to put the cooler in, and I'll show you guys what that looks like. But here, let me show you guys what this looks like right now. So you can see this is that little tray we made. You can see here, this is where I had to tack weld or full weld these the back side of these nuts and bolts into the slide itself. You can see I did all 4 of them there. I need to paint this still because it's welded. I'm gonna have to paint it on the trailer, but that's okay. It's kind of like par for the course. Everything seems to get painted on this trailer now, but that's what that's looking like. And you can see that, well, it's locked. It's a tight slide. I need to lubricate those slides a little bit, but it does slide as it's supposed to. And then it locks out, which is kind of nice. So it locks into position out here, and you can see that it's got enough strength. It'll be able to hold the fully loaded cooler fully out. To add this little bar in, I know where it goes. Fortunately, it's exactly an inch gap that I need to eat up, so I'm just going to press this fully against the back there and just do a couple tack welds along the top of the back of this back here. That's enough to hold it in place. This isn't structural, this is literally just to eat up a little bit of that gap. So let me weld this in real quick. Alright, so I just did 3 little tack welds back there. Again, this isn't structural. I'm not going to fully weld that. I'm just going to leave it the way it is back there like that. Let me grab the cooler and I'll put it in place. There we go. You can see that's what that looks like with the cooler installed. Now there's still a little bit of wiggle back here, and so for travel, I'm going to use one of these little straps. These are the same nylon straps. I just had a bunch of these. I'm going to use the same one that I used on the battery, well, a different strap, but the same type of strap that I used on the battery over there. I'm going to run it down the back here. So Yeti coolers are cool because they have the little cutouts. They're meant to have straps around them. This is pretty thin, and it's just a little bit of added protection to make sure that the cooler doesn't bounce up and out, because it would be really unfortunate for the cooler to like bounce out of this tray. It probably won't because it's gonna have stuff in it, but if it bounced out of this tray and like lodged itself back there, it'd be kind of a pain to get it out again. So these are nice little quick release straps. as you can see. So you can kind of quickly run these through. It's not going to be like a pain in the ass too much to remove these when I want to get into the cooler or when I want to load it up or something like that. And when the trailer is static, I'm not going to have the strap on it. So it's really just, it takes a couple seconds to put it on there, but it'll help hold the cooler into place. So I think it's an important little add-on personally. And then with that done, I will just cut this down. So I don't want to cut the whole length of the strap off because I want to have enough length of it that I can easily put this on there, and I've got something to pull on to tighten the cooler into position. But I'm going to leave it like a foot or so of strap. I just don't need 3 feet of strap, so just like that. And now you can see that that's not going to go anywhere. Gotta have the buckle on the front because there's not enough clearance on the top. There we go. So we got the drawer slide all done. Pretty easy project, honestly, not too terrible. But let's keep working. I got some other stuff I gotta do. Namely, I gotta put the tail lights in. So let's do that next. So unfortunately, I'm actually gonna call this video here. So I got the wires for the tail lights ran. I'm not gonna put the tail lights in yet because I need to move the Subaru over here and hook it up and figure out how to wire these tail lights. But we got the wires all ran. We got the drawer all done. And I'm kind of out of time to work on this. So I'm gonna call this video here. Overall, I'm really happy with this. This drawer works pretty well. As you can see, we've got our cooler. We've got our strap on the top of it to keep it into place, and you can open it up, access whatever you need from in here, and then very quickly put it back inside the trailer where it belongs. Now, the thing I want to move on to, and why I'm going to call this video early, is because I want to start making the doors, and that's going to be a completely separate video. So that's the next step. I need to make a total of 5 doors and the hatch. So we're going to move on to those videos instead and move this trailer forward. So I'm kind of running out of time. I took leave this week to knock this thing out, but I'm kind of running out of time, so I want to get moving on the big stuff so I can get the big stuff done, and then while the doors are drying and epoxying, then I'll do all this like other small stuff. So just for time reasons, I'm going to just finish this video here and move on with another project on this trailer. Overall though, I really like the way this thing's looking. I think this thing's shaping up really nicely. I hope you guys are liking it too. Sorry that this is a short video, but in the next one, we're gonna have a lot more progress done. Once we start getting some doors in this thing's gonna start to look really, really finished and really professional. So make sure you guys stick around, leave any comments down below, make sure to like, share, and subscribe, and I'll catch you all on the next one.